What's going on? You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Today's show, 10 players that should be traded. I'm Mitchell Renz. 8 feet away from me is Tom Downey. Let's dive into it, Tom. We got a running back here to kick off the show. It's Leonard Fournette.
Yes, deals that I think should happen. These are all my trade ideas, so feel free to call me stupid in the comments. I won't take offense to it. We're going to begin with Fournette, who the Jags very clearly want to shop. Like, they've shopped him for months. There hasn't been that many takers. He's in the last year of his deal. If traded, the new team would have to pay him $4.2 million.
Correct.
It's not that bad in the end. So here's the trade idea that I've put together. The Jags get Ronald Jones because the Bucs don't need Jones if they get Fournette.
And make sure your guys are voting.
And you can rotate with Keyshawn Vaughn. We'll do this for every single trade that we go through. A 6th-round pick as well. So the Jags get a potential in the backfield in Jones and a late-round pick. This makes the most sense, especially maybe mid-season. The Jags are tanking. They're not good. They trade away Fournette for whatever they can get, and maybe Jones can develop, even though I'm not convinced the Bucs like him that much. The Jags really, in the end, don't get much back here, but I don't think they're going to if they can find a taker.
So who says no, the Jags or the Buccaneers? It's an interesting trade idea. Ronald Jones is a running back that I never really thought panned out, but maybe
he's been disappointing.
Yeah, he's been disappointing. But Leonard Fournette, would he be able to fit in that offense?
I think he will. Look, Fournette caught a lot of passes last year for Jacksonville. I don't think it's a great use of his talents, but in a committee with Keyshawn Vaughn, I actually like that fit. I do.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. And I mean, I think, he had 76 catches. I misspoke, 522 receiving yards. I think, though, when Tom Brady has shown to win football games, they really pound the football late in the year. And I think if you have a running back like Leonard Fournette, that then it gives you the ability, once it does get cold, maybe not in Tampa, but if they have to travel in the playoffs, you can rely on a running back like Fournette. So I want you guys to join the NOTI game. Basically, I don't want you to ever miss a video. Here at Chat Sports, we keep you up to date on the latest news and the rumors. Always, always, always keeping you up to date. So, Tom, tell them what you do. If
you're on mobile, because it's 2020, most of you guys use a phone, bottom of your screen, there's a little thing that looks like a little mail message. It's the inbox. All the videos we put will go there. They're all going to be there if you have all notifications enabled. Otherwise, you might miss out on some really great videos here.
He was taking a shot at me because I still use desktop, and he calls me old for that. But on desktop, you guys, I always say get a picture. Next to that picture, you can see the bell. Click that bell, hit all, and then you won't miss a single video that we do, whether it's live and whether it's a news, rumors, or whether it's a top 10 players that should be traded video. Don't miss anything. Click that notification bell. Let's now go to the Washington Redskins, Ryan Kerrigan. We were debating before this one even got on.
I was surprised by this because I called Ryan Kerrigan underrated. Producer Alicia, our Redskins fan, called him overrated. And I was very surprised by that because since he's entered the NFL, he's been one of the most consistently productive passers. He's had 7.5 sacks every year he's played since 2011, except this past year, 5.5 when he missed a couple of games due to injury. But the Redskins, they take Montez Sweat, they take Chase Young, they're going to be rebuilding. Flip Kerrigan for something while you can. It's still kind of an expensive contract, so I want a conditional 4th-round pick here.
I actually love this trade idea here.
Cut Olivia Vernon and
perfect.
Save money.
And if there is a weakness on that Browns defense, now we've kind of made the debate, linebacker might be the least important position.
This is edge, though. This is edge rusher.
Okay, edge. All I'm saying is this.
He's a 3-4 outside linebacker for the Redskins. He'd be a defensive end.
It's like 15. It's like $15 million.
Cutting Vernon and adding Kerrigan would save the Browns like $4 million, I think.
Okay. I mean, regardless, though, this is a deal that I think makes a lot of sense because even if you're the Browns, who actually have been connected to a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, now you can maybe save some money here and there, go out and get a player like Ryan Kerrigan, who has been very productive in terms of stats.
He's older. He's not going to be, I don't think, prime 13-plus sack Kerrigan, but if you can get 8 sacks out of him, which I think is very doable based on his history, that's a worthwhile trade.
So Ryan Kerrigan, Leonard Fournette. Remember, we got a lot of big names here, but let us know, okay? If you don't like our ideas, this is your chance to put your trade ideas in the comments section. So here at Chat Sports, we always say that the show is about y'all. So Tom and I, we're going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with an ad break, I want you to scroll on down and let us know, okay? Give us your crazy trade ideas in the comment section. So I'll go to the Seattle Seahawks where we got KJ Wright, and I think this is more based off of what they did in round 1.
Look, Seattle does play more base defense than any other team in the NFL, despite the fact that there's really no reason to do that anymore. But they've invested at the linebacker spot in back-to-back years. Cody Barton in round 3 last year, Jordan Brooks in round 1 this year. You're not getting rid of Bobby Wagner.
Correct.
So if you want to move on from right to get those 2 young guys in your lineup, I think Philadelphia is an obvious fit. Now, he isn't in the last year of his deal. He is older. That does bring down the value in a trade. Maybe you could argue for a 4th rounder, but if you can trade a 31-year-old linebacker for a 5th that's maybe not part of your long-term plans, I think it makes some sense for Seattle. And the Eagles need another actually competent linebacker on that depth chart. They don't have very many.
So who says no to this trade? Type P for the Eagles, type S for the Seattle Seahawks, or if you think it's the right move for both, just type KJ. All right, Tom, let's look now at the Seahawks linebacking depth chart.
Yeah, you have Wright, you have Wagner, you just drafted Brooks. You also spent, I think it was 5th-round picks on both Ben Burke-Irvin and Shaquem Griffin, and you have a 3rd-round pick invested in Cody Barton. Maybe move on from the older guy while you still can and maximize your return if that's the route you want to pursue. The Eagles, meanwhile, that's bad. And look, it's linebacker. It's not the most important position on the defense these days.
But it's not good.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That you didn't really replace Nigel Bradham whatsoever.
Oh, one guy who's been replaced not just once, but twice, maybe 3 times. It's Josh Rosen, and I think you're looking at a former top 10 pick. It just hasn't worked out for him. Now you can see maybe him finding a new home.
Yeah, the contract's kind of weird because it's actually not signing bonus; it's roster bonuses stuff going forward, which you never see in their do at training camp. So like it's kind of tricky to actually move. But how about Pittsburgh, Mitch? Because my goal here was to find a place where Rosen could get more than a year.
Yep.
And here's my mindset: you hope you have an entire season out of Big Ben.
Correct.
You give Rosen a year to get acclimated to the offense, which he hasn't really had at Miami. He kind of got rushed in there. Arizona was never a good spot for him in the end.
Yep.
You can hopefully Big Ben does not get hurt. You sit Rosen for an entire season, and then you see what he's got, having had 2 years, hopefully, of the same offensive game plan and scheme, which he hasn't had in years.
I'm actually very proud of you also that you didn't go the lazy route and just go the New England Patriots. You go a different route here and go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't want to speak that into existence.
Okay, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I agree, because as much as I don't think Josh Rosen's very good, I would have him over Mason Rudolph. I would still take him over Rudolph, and I would definitely have him over Duck.
Or at least try with him. Like, it was cheap. It was a 7th-round pick. That's free.
Yeah.
And that's nothing.
I can also guarantee that
Tommy Stevens was a 7th-round pick this year.
Josh Rosen also will never use his helmet as a weapon. I can almost bet on that. All right, let's go to the next player here.
Garrett who did that.
Yeah.
That was a bad joke, Mitch. You missed it.
Yeah, true. All right, Cameron Brate, he's up next here, and I think this makes a lot of sense because why? The Buccaneers, you have Gronk, you already have O.J. Howard. Cameron Brate's the 3rd tight end.
Exactly. He's the 3rd tight end. They're going to use multiple tight end sets, but Brate's now your number 3. The Bucs extended him. He's owed $25 million over 4 years. Now it's only $4.25 this year.
Yep.
Producer Alicia liked this idea. Cameron Brate to the Redskins for a 5th-round pick.
They definitely need a tight end.
That tight end room is trash. I am
thin.
sorry, Redskins fans and family members of the people who are in that tight end room. It's gross.
I mean, it's definitely not good.
Great game to play here in the comments, guys. How many of these players have you heard of before? Jeremy Sprinkle, Richard Rodgers, who I think would be the most popular name or most known name on there.
I disagree.
Logan Thomas, Hale Hentges, who was like the mediocre Bama tight end behind O.J. Howard, and Thaddeus Moss, a UDFA. You heard of Thaddeus. I know that.
That's what I mean. I think
that's a bad room.
The most notable name on here is a UDFA.
It's actually Logan Thomas because he was a quarterback.
I think people would pick out Thaddeus Moss over all those names on there. Bottom line, Redskins, they need a tight end. The Buccaneers,
Moss
they got
still
3
might
of
not
them.
make that team.
So you have Cameron Brate, you have O.J. Howard. I want you to pick a tight end because I know a lot of y'all play fantasy football, and I think if you just look at numbers, Brate actually probably has better numbers.
They actually threw him the damn ball.
I was just going to say, I think also Jameis.
Signed O.J. Howard dynasty owner.
Jameis Winston just kind of relied on Brate. I'm going to type O.J. I think this is a pretty easy one. You know, I think O.J. Howard is actually maybe the most underappreciated tight end in the entire NFL. So type CB, type O.J. I'm going to go O.J. I'm just saying. Let's now go to Kenny Stills here next on our list of players that should be traded.
That was a clever joke you just did.
I had to make up for my other one.
That was a very clever joke, Mitch. I like that one. That was good. Look, Kenny Stills, the Texans have like 8 number 3 receivers on their roster right now. Like they got to move somebody. Stills makes the most sense. A $7 million cap hit, both for Texans or in a trade. probably a little bit expensive.
Yep.
But I actually think a team like the LA Chargers makes a ton of sense because obviously you have Keenan Allen, who's great, especially working in the middle of the field.
Yep.
Mike Williams, a big-bodied receiver.
Absolutely.
Who's your vertical, speedy, deep threat in the end?
It used to be Travis Benjamin.
He gone, and he also wasn't that great. I think the Chargers would be a really good fit for Kenny Stills. Slot him in as the number 3 receiver because your other options are Joe Reed, who was not used vertically at Virginia. Neither was basically pure slot KJ Hill. Andre Patton? Darius Jennings?
No, it's not pretty.
Let's get some vertical speed for Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert. How about that?
I don't think that's a bad idea, and also not a bad idea. You see it below. Give us a like on this video. Only 121 likes. Come on, y'all. Get with the program. Also, if you need to get an NFL jersey, you can go to chatsports.com/NFL jersey. The jerseys that are on top right now, they're the rookie jerseys, but you can get all the veterans as well. And I know this is a trade video, and I think sometimes people are worried, Tom, if I go get a jersey and that guy gets traded, what happens?
They give you free insurance. They'll take care of you.
And I think that's an important thing, all right? We're not just going to show a random jersey, and if a player gets traded, then you're screwed. No. If you get a jersey at chatsports.com/NFL jersey, and if he gets traded, there's insurance on it where then you can get a new jersey.
Obviously, some of them still have number 1 on there because they haven't announced the official number or they haven't updated it, but they'll send you the right jersey number, too.
Like the video. Let's go to the next guy here. We got Yannick Ngakoue.
There he is.
Love it. And see, the list gets juicier and juicier as we go down.
He wants out, right? Like, he doesn't want to be there.
Really?
The issue is Jacksonville had a very high asking price. They didn't want to totally torpedo that, but Yannick kind of burnt the bridges with napalm twice in reality. He's expensive.
No doubt.
I don't think you're going to get a first-round pick for him.
Okay.
I just don't think so, especially with the unknown of what that first-round pick could be. How about a second-rounder?
Okay.
How about the Seattle Seahawks to replace Clowney?
Who
says no?
I mean, if you're trying to fill a need, and if you're the Seattle Seahawks, I still think that they have a need there at, finding an edge rusher, finding the defensive end. Plus, I think the one thing that Yannick does provide is some solid run defense, which in that division you definitely need to have, especially when you're going up against, the San Francisco 49ers. And for Jags, hey, you get an extra pick, you get to continue to build.
You're tanking anyway, so it's fine.
But I'm kind of worried, though, and we'll go to this, where will Yannick play next season? I'm kind of looking at it as he's hurt his stock so much that the longer and longer you wait, the less and less valuable he is going to be.
The Jags played this too much like the Redskins played the Trent Williams trade. They didn't maximize their window of opportunity. You're not going to get the most return on an investment now.
So let us know, where will Yannick Ngakoue play next season? Let's now go to Alshon Jeffrey, where I think actually an interesting team for Yannick could actually be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sure.
Alshon, Yannick straight up, I would say no. But
everyone says no, except the Eagles. The Eagles just
yes.
The Eagles are so quick to press yes, they accidentally press no. Because Jeffrey doesn't have much value right now. The Eagles can't really cut him. They could, but they don't actually save any money because they restructured that deal, and I think there is some pretty significant buyer's remorse, especially since Jeffrey keeps leaking bad things about Carson Wentz to the media.
Which is something I don't understand.
You cannot have that from your quote-unquote number 1 receiver. So get him out of there. How about a front office that has some familiarity with Alshon Jeffrey?
Okay.
Joe Douglas came over from Philadelphia. The Jets get him. Conditional 7th-round pick, that's it. Because you still got to pay him something. And he's coming off injury, too.
In terms of fitting this offense, I do think he actually would fit this offense very well. Now, I like Denzel Mims a lot. I liked him when he first came out of Baylor.
Especially long-term.
Long-term, but Perriman as well. He can stretch the field. Crowder's a good underneath receiver. They don't really have that possession receiver like an Alshon Jeffrey.
And I think Mims can probably play that role in year 1, but he might need some developmental time. I think it makes some sense for the Jets if they're willing to gamble on Jeffrey's both attitude, clearly, and medical.
Another wide receiver here that needs to be traded, Dante Pettis, and former second-round pick with the 49ers, and I don't really think it's gone the way that Niner fans and even 49ers team would hope, but I still think he has at least a little bit of value.
Kind of got to stop letting Shanahan make some of the picks because I think this was a Shanahan pick, and he just fell out of favor with it.
Yeah.
Like that Niners receiving core last year was not great, and Pettis had 11 catches.
Yep.
He just didn't get on the field. That's a significant red flag. So trade him for what you can get because you bring in Brandon Ayuk. You have Deebo Samuel, who was great for San Francisco this past year.
Yep.
You're hoping out of more from, frankly, Jalen Hurd at this point. How about us they get a 6th-round pick back, and the Packers get a receiver? I did it for you guys.
I was just going to say.
I did it.
I saw it before it came up on screen, and as soon as I saw green, I was like, I don't even need to see the logo, because this move makes a lot of sense, I think, for this Green Bay Packers team, who really has done nothing for Aaron Rodgers.
The receiver spot. Unless you count Devin Funchess as an addition.
He's a tight end.
Which technically is.
Devin Funchess is a tight end.
That does not go like Aaron Rodgers is like, oh, yeah, baby. We got Devin Funchess. Look out, NFC. He goes, you didn't take a receiver in round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You signed one undrafted free agent. It was like Darryl Stewart out of Michigan State. They just didn't address it. Let's bring in somebody who maybe stinks, but at least they tried.
Tom, great job saving the best for last. Jamal Adams, and I'll tell you what, you gotta see this trade that Tom puts together for Jamal Adams. It's an interesting one.
You guys knew he was gonna be in here.
I mean, when you think about,
and you knew where he was going too. Everyone knows where he's going. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The Cowboys definitely have a major need here, and you get a 1st-round pick for the Jets plus Xavier Woods. I mean,
who can play strong safety?
There's been a lot of rumors around, Jamal, but there's also been rumors around Marcus May. Tom, who says no, Dallas or the Jets?
The Jets should say no because they should go, you know what, guys? We've got this awesome safety. Let's just make him the highest-paid safety in the NFL, and we'll be fine.
Okay.
That's what they should do. We'll see if they actually do it, though.
I see in the comments.
It's a little weird. I'm not saying they're not going to do it. I'm just saying it's a little weird the Jets have a premier player on defense, and they go, yeah, we'll worry about your extension later. Shouldn't that be a priority, especially for a guy that's like your heart and soul on defense?
I see.
It's just weird.
Asa2 says, that is awesome. If you think the show's awesome, hit that sub button and send it to your friends.